Another sunrise, here the day comes. To another song for when tears fall down. There's nothing puts the mind at ease unless there's something within, wonder whether you found peace. In the sunrise, here the day comes.
Better believe the truth will surface. So many people have prayed for justice. Look at the time that's passed. Where in the hell are the facts? Giving the guilty a pass. Look at the face of an angel. Look at the people that Tabitha touched. Bringing my city together with love. Through the pain, see your name, sing your song. Tabi's right here, never gone. People angry, secrets in the dark. Standing in this empty park. Tears are falling over broken hearts. Hope this song will keep a family strong.
Your lives have changed since the day that she went away. I pray your family will find peace in some way. I know it's hard to cope. Hope feels like a broken road. Through the darkest days, you're not alone. That's why you hear the Tabi song. So just
say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes, say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes.
how do we continue living without those we love? When in times of need, sometimes we just need a hug. Wish I had the words to say to make you feel more happy. Cause now that your world is different, there'll be no one like Tabi. That's how we feel. Now everybody's
Singing Tabi's song, light your candle, see your smile. You were not alone, you were not alone. Know your heart is aching and that time don't really heal. But your faith in God has kept you safe and always will. Something about this empty park just don't feel the same. When it's pouring, you might see an angel when it rains. Something about this empty park just don't feel the same. When it's pouring, you might see an angel when it rains.
With you, how we miss you. It's so much harder these days than it was with you. Blow you a kiss too. Say see you later, never goodbye. Cause when the tears start flowing, Tabi's by your side.
Say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes, say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes, just sing her song. Just sing her song. Just sing her song. Even when the tears start falling, just sing her song. Even when the tears start falling, even when the tears start falling, just sing her. Say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes, say her name, sing her song. Even when the tears begin to fall, Tabi's with you, never gone. Keep on praying, God won't let who did this off. Justice ain't that far away, but until that day comes.
Hi, everyone. It's Marv with Beyond the Evidence, and we're back with Chapter 6, Part 2. Please remember that during this time, Part 1 left off with Amanda talking to law enforcement. So I'm not sure exactly where I left off, so I'm going to begin at the one page that I know I was on. It might be a repeat, but it might be a good refresher too. So here we go. All right. You did drugs in Indianapolis at Tabi the drug dealer's house. Uh-huh. How much later was it that you told Tabitha Raines about this? Not long. You just called up Tabitha Raines and told her? No, she was over at our house. So the phone records that you were talking about were Tabitha, the drug dealer, to your house? The phone records I am talking about is the phone records from my house, she explained. My phone records, because we got our phone number changed. So, whatever day your phone number was changed is the day that Tabitha, the drug dealer, called you? Exactly, because we got our number changed. Who lives in the house now where you and Kyle lived? Nobody. Is that phone now disconnected? Number? Yes, yes. Alden then tried to probe into the details of the connection between Tabi Raines and Balser. What, if anything, did Tabi tell you about Liz as far as their relationship was concerned? When did they become friends? I have no clue when they became friends, Amanda said. All I know is I asked her one time where she could get a bag of weed at, and she said, let me call Liz. And Liz came over there. And this is about the only time that I have ever talked to Liz. And Liz said, you'll have to give me your money and I'll go get it and bring it back. And I wasn't about to do that. I was like, no, I don't give my money to people and then get ripped off. That's the only time I have ever heard her say anything about Liz, except for the time at Marsh. Where did you have this conversation with Liz at? At her house, Tabi's house. And Liz was over there? Uh-huh. And Tabi also made the comment, Liz has a big crush on me. She always hooks me up fat, is what she would always say. That's what she said that day. So Liz cared for Tabi. Is that what Tabi told you? Yeah. Do you know how long before Tabi was found missing, that you were over there and Liz was over there? Winter? January? February? 6, 8, 9 months before? I was pregnant, I remember, because I was getting it for Kyle. Do you personally have anything to do with Liz? No. Let's talk about Kyle's relationship with John Yates. Yates, he was a good friend of Kyle's. Not that I'm aware of. They talked, but not often. When did you first know that Kyle even knew John Yates? And did you ever see the two of them together? Actually, I knew him a long time ago from school because we all went to school together. But wrestling or something is what Kyle told me. But the first time I ever saw them together was over at John's house. They traded CDs for us. 2 CDs for a 20 sack. A $20 bag of pot. This was when? How long ago? I can't remember, a long time ago, but it was before the breakup, maybe a week before the breakup of me, Tabi, and Kyle. Who was providing what to who? John was providing us with the weed, and we was providing him with the CDs. Have you ever made any drug transactions with John? I never did. I don't know if Kyle did or not. Kyle never mentioned to you if he'd ever done any other transactions with them? No. Did John bring the pot to your house? No, we went over there. Other than that, are you familiar with any other than, in other words, did Kyle ever come home and tell you that he had been out with John? No. Did you know that John had dated Tabi? Yes, me and Tabi were friends at that time. So he was dating her and they broke up. Did Tabby ever talk about John after that? Kinda, in a sense. How did she talk about it? Just that she couldn't believe that he screwed her over. I can't remember what all happened in the relationship. It was just a blowout. Did Tabby ever tell you that she made up with him? No. So, as far as you know, they were not unfriendly on a friendly basis. Exactly. Did you ever have a conversation with Tiffany Boatwright where you told her to come to your house because you thought that Liz had killed Tabby? No. Why would Tiffany say that you did? I have no clue. I asked Becky Amon because she used to be one of my good friends, and she told me Tiffany is just a lying bitch. You don't even have to worry about it, is what Becky told me. You can even ask Becky that herself. Did you call Becky's cell phone for Tiffany or any reason and ask Tiffany to come out to your house? No. I called Becky's cell phone, but I talked to Becky, not Tiffany, that I'm aware of. Was that telephone conversation to Becky's cell phone on October 6th, early AM? I don't know. Was it soon after Tabby's body was found? Yes. It was just hearsay, everything that I was hearing. So, Becky was a good friend of yours. Uh huh. And you just wanted her to come out and talk to you. Uh huh. I just wanted someone to talk to. Did you consider Becky to be one of your best friends? No. Why did you call Becky of all people? She is the only one I can get a hold of to talk to. Who are your other good friends? I don't have any anymore. Who were they before? Mandy Amon and Danielle. Did you and Mandy Amon have a problem for any reason? No. Who is Danielle? She is my age. She lives in Tipton. What is her last name? Salee? And did you all have a problem for any reason? No. Becky is Mandy's little sister, and I couldn't get a hold of Mandy, so I called Becky. Do you know the Nelson brothers? Yes. Where are they friends of Kyle's? Not that I'm aware of. Robbie, maybe. He used to come over with Mandy because they were dating. I don't know if they still are or not, but he would talk to Robbie every now and again. But as far as hanging out together, not that I'm aware of. Did Kyle see Mandy that night, that Wednesday night? That's what he told me. What did he do with Mandy? Just asked her if she wanted to go on a ride with him. Did she? No, she had something to do. I can't remember. The interview then went off the record for a few minutes, once more, and then came back on. Right before Tabby was missing, where was Kyle getting his drugs from? Adam Johnson. So did Adam come over that day and sell drugs? Wednesday? I was gone all day. I was gone from 11 to 4, and he was gone, so I wouldn't know if he did. But to my knowledge, no. But Adam was his supplier at that time. Uh-huh. Adam had been over to your house and sold cocaine to Kyle while you were there before? Right. How many times? Numerous. How much would he normally sell when he came? Oh, he would have quite a bit at a time. Let's talk quantity. What is the most you know Kyle ever bought from him? 5 grams. What did that cost him? $350. How much would you and Kyle use in a week? Maybe 7 or 8 grams. Where would Kyle get his money to pay for this? Working. We we made good money at the restaurant. We did not have to pay rent because his mom owned the house. So you would spend all your money on cocaine? No, we did not spend it all on cocaine. Well, that was costing you about $400 a week. Uh huh. And Kyle brought home about $800 a week every 2 weeks. And I brought home about 400 a week. So we were doing fine. We were in debt, but yeah. So he's bringing $400 home. You're bringing $400 and you're spending 50% of your income on cocaine a week. Yeah, for 3 weeks, if that. That was like at the prime time when we were doing it a lot. I mean, we would do it every once in a while, not every week. How often would Kyle use his mother's gun? I didn't even know she owned a gun. Did he ever mention it to you? No. Well, yeah, I did know that she owned a gun because of his apartment. Because at his apartment, his mom went over there and saw a key of some sort on his keychain. And she is like, "This is the key to my gun." And she went and tried it, and it wasn't it. It was a key to his lock safe box. That's how I know she had one. As far as him ever mentioning using it or doing anything with it, I never heard of it. So it is your testimony that Kyle didn't know that his mom had a gun? No, Kyle knew. He probably knew. But for a fact that I know that he knew, no, I don't know if he knew or not. And have you discussed this with his mother since this time? Yeah, I talked to her. I was like, "Debbie, go check to make sure your gun is still at your house." She went and checked, and it was still there. Did she know whether or not it had been fired? I looked at it, and it had a lock thing on the trigger. I don't know much about all that stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about? I have no clue what it is, but it didn't look like it had been used. Did Kyle ever express interest in anybody else except Tabi? No, not around me. Did the two of you have any involvement with any other couples besides Michael and Tabi? No. Did you know anything about Michael's girlfriend? No, I had an idea, but no. Did Kyle smoke? Smoke? Yes. What did he smoke? Camel menthol lights. Did he ever smoke Newports? No. Well, he smoked Newport 100s when they were on sale, but it was a long time ago. And he only bought them one time because they hurt his throat. He did smoke menthol type cigarettes? Yes, he did. There were several cigarette butts found near Tabby's body when it was found, but DNA testing did not link any of the accused to the butts. However, the mention of Newport cigarettes carries another significance. When Michael returned home from school on the night of October 2nd, in addition to Tabby not being home, Michael also found a couple of things to be odd in the apartment. The TV was on and was turned to a station where a baseball game was playing. Where if the TV was on when Tabby was alone in the apartment, it was almost always turned to the station MTV. Additionally, there was a pack of Newport cigarettes laying on the coffee table, and neither Michael nor Tabby smoked Newports. Was Kyle on probation during this period of time? Alden asked. Yes. And was Kyle restricted at all with his probation at all? What do you mean? Well, with his ability to come and go. No, he could come and go as he wanted, but he had to go once a month for a meeting. Did you all know Andrew Bush? No, I don't even. Did Kyle ever mention him? No. What was the deal when Tiffany and them came over and then knocking on the door while you and Kyle were inside? First off, it wasn't a long time. It was like 3 minutes. And wouldn't you, if someone comes knocking at your door at midnight, start wondering what in the world is up? Wouldn't you start peeking out, thinking, why is somebody at my house at midnight? That is what we were doing. We were scared, worried. So they just came over unsolicited? Yes, Kyle opened the sliding glass door and was talking to them. And I heard him ask, "Who are you?" Because I don't think he knew Tiffany. I knew he knew Amber and Emily, but I don't think he knew Tiffany. But I was like, "Who is it, Kyle?" And he was like, "I don't know. Come over here." And I went over there and I looked at it and it was them. And I was like, "Oh, come in." And I pulled the curtain back because Kyle was holding the curtain. And they came in and we talked. They asked us if we knew where Tabi was. And I said no. Then I told them what I said earlier about her using my grandmother as an excuse. And Kyle said no, but I saw her at VP yesterday and I told her about Amanda's grandma, and I haven't seen her since. They were like, "Well, okay, we're going to try and find her." Then you got a phone call from Roberta. And then did Michael come over to your house? Yes. What did he ask you and what did you all tell them? He asked me if I'd seen Tabi and I said no. What's going on? Because Roberta had called and I was worried. And he said, "No, nothing's going on. She didn't come home all night and she said that she was going with you to see your grandma at the hospital." And I was like, "No, my grandma got out of the hospital yesterday." And after we talked, Kyle told him the exact thing that he said to me, that he saw her at the village pantry, talked to her there, and told her about my grandma, and talked to Drake, and then he left. And told him some other stuff that he did, like stopped and dropped off his helmet off and saw Mandy and stuff like that. Did Kyle specifically mention what Tabi had said to him when he saw her at Village Pantry to Michael? Yeah, he said she said, "We're going to go up and meet Liz." Did he know Liz's name at that time? Yeah, because he had talked about it. Because we were trying to piece things together of where she could be. And me and him both just thought she was taking a break, needed a break from life. To him and Michael, did he say to meet some dyke? No. Have you ever known Kyle to be with Liz in her vehicle at any time? No. I mean, you and Kyle did drugs together, right? Right. You and Kyle went together to places to buy drugs in Indianapolis. Uh huh. You knew Adam Johnson was selling drugs to Kyle. Would there be any reason for Kyle to hide from you who he was buying drugs from? No. When you knew Tabi, who else did you know her to do cocaine with other than you and Kyle? Nick Hall, Amanda said, referring to Tabi's cousin. Hall had allegedly made an ominous comment to Tabi's brother, TJ, and sister Tara during the search for Tabi in the days between her disappearance and the discovery of the body. Something to the effect of, "If I had a role in the death of a family member and told you, would you keep it a secret?" Nick Hall? Alden asked. Uh huh. How did you know that she was doing cocaine with him? Because she was over at our house when she was doing it. That's all I remember. Where did he get his cocaine? Andrew. She didn't specify a last name. Or Adam. Okay, and Adam supplied his cocaine to both of you at the same time? He supplied it to Kyle, and Kyle supplied it to Nick. Sorry for the confusion. And Nick and Tabi just happened to be there at the same time? Right. So when I say, did you ever talk about doing drugs with anyone else when you guys were friends, except for you and Kyle? No. Did you ever know Michael to do cocaine independently with her at their house? No. So as far as you know, the only time she did cocaine would be at your house. Uh-huh. Do you think that Kyle was providing Tabi with enough cocaine that she became addicted to it at all? No, not at all. I know she liked it a lot, but I don't know. I have only seen Tabi snort one or two lines. That's it. Was Tabi trustworthy? In some aspects. Did you ever know her to steal? No. Would you consider yourself to be addicted to either cocaine or marijuana? What do you mean? Alden redirected as to not lead Amanda into an answer. I don't know what that means. I'm not a user, so, Alden said. I don't even do it nothing anymore, Amanda said. You understand the term addiction. Yes. What do you understand that term to mean? That you woke up that morning feeling like you have to have it to survive. So when you would do it, it would be on a social aspect, right? Even though you were doing 7 grams a week. When we would do it, we would do like 3 grams a night, me and Kyle. Then we would be done. Then it would be 5 or 6 more days, and it would be 4 or 5 more grams. It would be periodically, not every day. Alden then told Amanda that he had no further questions at that time. However, he did remind her that he might want to talk to her again before Balser's trial. Prosecutor Rich then took his chance to direct Amanda in questioning, somewhat like you would see done to a witness on the stand at a trial. Amanda, I have a few questions for you. You made a statement about Tabitha stating that Elizabeth Balser had a big crush on her, and she made the statement in front of you and Elizabeth. Is that correct? No, Amanda replied. Okay, tell me about the circumstances about that. It was me, her, Kyle, and Michael. It was, I think, a few minutes after getting home from school, and Kyle wanted a bag. I was pregnant. Me and Tabi were pregnant. And Tabi goes, let me call Liz. She has a big crush on me. And then Liz came over there. Liz came over where? Tabi's. Who was all there? Me, Kyle, and Tabi. That was in January 2002? Yeah, sometime in there. And then the circumstances at Marsh's in Tipton, you say that is the last time you talked to Tabitha, correct? Yeah. You think that is 2 weeks before her death? Yeah, something along that line. And you're out in the parking lot talking to her? Uh-huh. Is she in the car when you're talking to her? No, I am in a car. She is standing outside the car. Who are you in the car with? Kyle. Where's Roberta? I didn't see her. You saw Elizabeth? Yeah, she pulled up behind us and yelled for Tabi. And I saw Tabi and Roberta pulled up behind Liz. And that's the last time I saw Tabi. Tabi got in the car with Liz? No, Roberta. What did Roberta do? Drove off. When did Kyle get his motorcycle? Rich continued. I don't know. I can get you the registration. Well, prior to October 2002, How for how long had he had it? April or May? It was right after I had my child. He likes to ride it? Oh yeah. You said earlier that he was riding the bike by himself. Is this something that he enjoyed doing? Uh-huh. I believe you said he did it all the time. Uh-huh. He just enjoyed riding for hours all by himself? Yeah. And that was from the time he got the cycle up until the time Tabitha was killed? I don't think I've seen him ride that bike once since all of this has happened. Take me through, Amanda, your movements. What did you do and who were you with? That would have been Wednesday, right? Amanda clarified. Uh-huh, Rich said. Okay, it was my great aunt, my dad, me, and my grandma that was at the hospital. She was at St. Joe in Kokomo. We found out that she was okay around 3:30 or so, somewhere along that line, because it takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to get to my parents' house on 31. So we left the hospital, went to see my parents' house, which I got there about 4 because my mom had just got home and she gets off work at 3:30. She works at the factory at IMI. I sat down and talked with them about 20 minutes and left. I went to the house. When I got there, nobody was there. What time was this? Rich probed. I got there about 4:30 or 5. This was yours and Kyle's house? Right. So I got there about 4:30 or 5. Nobody was there. So I called Debbie to see what was going on with him getting off work. And she was like, he was helping Bill with some stuff out in the parking lot. And he said he was going to go ride his bike later. I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. And I hung up the phone. Then an hour went by, and I was like, okay, what's going on? And I called my sister. I called my sister all the time. We were like best friends. And I got off the phone with her, and I talked to Mandy. And when I got off the phone with her, Debbie and Marcia pulled up in Debbie's car and had formula for the baby that they had bought at Walmart in Kokomo for me. So they dropped it off. Who is Marcia? She works at the restaurant. And Mandy and Rob, he saw me and the baby was sitting on the porch. He was eating in his walker. They pulled over and talked to me for about 5 minutes. Then they left. Did you know where they went? No. Did you see which way they were going? Do you remember? Toward Kokomo on 31, I think. But I don't know what they were doing. I asked, but I don't think they told me. I don't remember. But then I called my sister and she was talking to me about her child. I told her to ask Mom if it is okay if you come over and hang out with me for a little bit. And she's like, all right. So she asked my mom, and my mom said, that's fine. He's ready to go to bed. So she came over about 7:45 or 8. How old is your sister? My age, 20s. Are you identical twins? No. We sat there and hung out for about 30 minutes. Then my mom called and said the child is crying and wants his mommy. It was about 8:30 or 8:45, she said. Make sure you call me when Kyle calls. And I was like, okay. And after she left, I remembered looking at the clock. I talked to Kyle, and he said he would be home within the next half hour. He had to stop and get cigarettes. Stopped at Gas America and got cigarettes, I imagine. And I was sitting on the front porch, and he parked his bike in the shed like he always did. And that was around 9:30 or 10. Did you notice what he had with him? Was he carrying anything? No. His hat. No, you didn't notice or you didn't pay attention at all? Rich clarified. I didn't notice. When you left the house that day at 11 or thereabouts, where was Kyle? At work. So from around 11 and until sometime after 9, you didn't see Kyle or know what he was doing? I know he got off work at about 2:30. Amanda, are you a gun person? Do I know a lot about them? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. No. Have you ever fired one? No. So you've never owned one, obviously. No. Adam Johnson supplied Kyle with a lot of drugs. Uh-huh. Was it unusual for him to come out to your place on 28 and 31? No. Who would be with him? His girlfriend, Cammie Moore. Cammie Moore? What does she look like? Tall, blonde, big boned, talks like me. Big boned? Uh-huh. That's all? Rich concluded. Rich and Alden also had a keen interest in speaking to Cammie Moore, who alleged to have witnessed something in the critical time frame that would have been roughly around the last time anyone saw Tabi alive. Moore came to the county prosecutor's office to be disposed by Rich and Alden after about a year after the murder. She raised her right hand and was sworn in under oath before the questioning began. Alden led off the questioning and took down basic information for Moore, including where she was living at the time, where she was working, and how to contact her. It was revealed that she had previously gone to the authorities with the information she alleged to have, speaking with Detective Raleigh before being deposed by Alden and Rich. Why did you want to talk to Frawley? Alden asked. Because he pulled me from the school, Moore said. She was a senior in high school at the time of the murder. How old are you? 18. Okay, I'm sorry, Alden said, as Moore continued telling her story. Frawley pulled me from the school, and rumor had it I had seen Tabi with Elizabeth Balser Wednesday, October 2nd, 2002. I didn't know it had been forever ago, she said, and he pulled me in from school time, which my mom did not appreciate that on hearsay, and I got pulled in for that. What did you tell him? Alden pressed on. Well, that I saw Tabi at the corner of Steel Parts Credit Union and White's Meat Market. I don't know the street that runs east and west, she continued. Anyway, I told him I saw them. Tabitha waved, and I waved back. It was during school time because I was selling ads. I am the editor of the yearbook, and my job is to sell ads to local businesses. I was gone from lunchtime until like fourth period. Was this every day of the week? Pretty much as I could. So you couldn't tell him what day of the week you saw her? Oh, yeah, I could tell him the day of the week. It was Wednesday. Okay, it was Wednesday when you saw them. Yeah, it was like 11:45, and Frawley has the exact date and time if you need it. Wednesday, you saw them. Yeah, and she was in the passenger seat. Didn't look distressed or distraught. Whose car? Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was driving? She was more focused, but she knows not to wave to me because I do not associate with her. I was told as a child not to, and I learned my lesson, and it obviously paid off. She was in the 5th grade with me, and my mom took us to the detention center, and she told her, if you don't quit misbehaving, you're going to end up here. It is kind of ironic, she said with a sigh. Okay, so you were going to the detention center too. Moore seemed to cut him off. No, it was a 5th grade field trip. No, I wasn't going there. Okay, So she was in the passenger seat of Liz's car. Yeah. You mean the car being driven by Liz? Or, yeah, Elizabeth's maroon boat. I don't know what kind of car it is. It's a big old hoopty, a big old car. When did you give this information to Frawley? Well, I gave the information to the principal after they found the body. They didn't release who it was till I think Saturday night, she explained. And Monday at school, some kids were talking about it. Well, I saw her on Wednesday. Well, I saw her on Wednesday too. And talk got going, and we talked to the principal about it. And he said, well, Frelly will be in later. So you are saying you actually seen Liz's maroon car and Liz was driving it? Yes. She was in town, headed south on Main Street, and I was headed north. She actually turned left on whatever street that is. Tipton Telephone and Internet Company office name at the time is on it. Those apartments are on it. Do you know what street that is? Rich offered some help identifying the street name. I think it's Washington, he said. Moore continued. I think you are right. She turned left onto Washington, and I was going straight because I was going on to Industrial Road. When they went by, she kind of hesitated to wave. She always waves, and she did. Tabitha did. And so I kind of looked up and expected a wave. And she waved, and I waved back. And that was it. And that was all I seen and heard. I'm sorry, you were passing each other, Alden redirected? Well, we were at the four-way blinking light, Moore said, as she demonstrated where the vehicles were positioned. Here's my car, and here's theirs. I motioned for them to go ahead. Tabitha looked at me, and Elizabeth was driving her car, and Tabitha was there, and my car was here. And that was it. Is there any question in your mind who was in the car? Alden continued. Just those two, Moore said, consistent with what she had reported to that point. Just then, are you sure that Elizabeth was driving the car? Alden asked again. Oh, yeah, positive. She doesn't have tinted windows. It's easy to tell. Okay, this is the same day you sold an ad to Westmiller Trucking? Alden continued. Yeah. And did they pay you by check? Well, they didn't purchase the ad that day. They put the ad off for a long time. B&R Schroeder's BRS Mechanical was the proper name of the company at the time, drew up their ad that day. B&R Schroeder's? Yeah, but Billy's dad, the son of the owner, wasn't in that day, so they couldn't give me a check. Usually what they do is I go in and give them the layout of what they want, and they can pick from. Then they talk to their caller. Okay, that's fine, Alden said. Who wrote you a check that day? B&R Schroeder's wrote the check that day. No, I'm not saying definitely. They very rarely have checks. They send them to the school. I'm just going to get an ad for the school yearbook. Is there any document for that day? The book at school saying when I left and came back, Moore explained. Well, you left every day. Well, it has the date on top of it. They keep a log. I could probably get that for you. But would it say where you were going? Probably not. Sometimes it writes description. I could probably get in the yearbook folder. I keep a lot of the passes that the sponsor gives to me. He writes on them where I'm going every day, like the hallway pass. It tells where you're going. I could get lucky and still have that in my folder, but other than that, is there any document that would have a date that would show you were at Westmiller Trucking and B&R Schneider that day? I don't know if they signed their contract that day. They could have put it off until Mr. Schroeder returned. Did you make an appointment? No, I don't make appointments because if you call on the phone for an ad, they will turn you down immediately. You just kind of show up, Alden said. So you say it was about 11:45 a.m. Other than that statement that you gave Frawley, is there anything else that you know? Well, after he pulled me into the office and what felt like interrogated me, Elizabeth had been arrested and released, Moore explained. And then she was released. She called my cell phone and left a message, which I found quite bizarre since I had just talked to Frawley. I don't even know how she got my number, and she knows better than to speak to me because I wouldn't even look at her. So that bothered me that she called and left a message on my cell phone, trying to sell me drugs. So I called Frawley's home, and he came over to my parents' home, and I played the message for them. And he said, "That was bizarre." Moore recalled Frawley telling her, "I highly doubt that she knows I talked with you." You know, it was kind of spooky, Moore added, like I was next. So I got a new phone number. Alden asked for her old number, which Moore provided. And she called and said, "Hey, it's Liz. Wanted to know if you wanted to hook up on any tree. Give me a hit back." And it was her mom's cell phone. I tried to call it back and nobody answered the phone. And Frawley said that the best thing to do was just drop it and get a new number. How do you know that was her mother's number? Because Frawley told me that was her mother's number because they had it in previous reports and that Elizabeth didn't have a cell phone, I guess. Okay, and that was a week after you had been to the police? I don't know if it was a week, a few days. I know I had talked to them. And then maybe 2 days go by. She gets put in jail. She doesn't stay in jail very long and gets out and called my phone like the next day after she got out. And I thought that was bizarre and it freaked me out. And you had no contact with her before that? I don't even speak to her. I haven't even looked the girl in the face since like the fifth grade. I don't associate with them. She scares me. Is it a fact that she is a lesbian? It's the fact that she is known for the things she does. She does things ever since second grade. Her dad lived. I could see the house from my house. So it was other things other than the fact that she was a lesbian thing that bothered you? Yeah, I grew up around her. The fact about the lesbian thing didn't bother me, just the aura she put off. Have you ever bought any drugs from her? Maybe a friend has bought drugs off of her? Nope, I don't talk to anyone who hangs out with her. I don't associate with those kind of people. It's a whole other group than what I'm in. I'm just looking to see where we're at in the chapter. Okay. It's totally different, and that is why it bothered me. I thought it was so weird. Any other thing that you told Frawley? No other thing. Those are the three things: the cell phone call, seeing her in the car, and the new information I had just gotten last week. More than rattled off somewhat a long winded, disjointed tale of a story that she allegedly heard. Well, it is rumors. It's Tipton County. But we have some friends that live, I babysit their daughters. They have three little girls, and we got to talking about it. And they live in a trailer in between Elizabeth and Elizabeth's brother. And we got to talking about rumors that there's a dirty cop involved. And the times don't match up. And you know, someone saw Tabi at 2:30, but the police say that's impossible because she was dead before then. And all this. And the night that she was supposedly shot, he said, it was funny because I seen his brother going from Elizabeth's and had clothes, like clothes of Elizabeth's, and was taking them somewhere. They saw him run through their yards. Whose brother was it? Alden inquired. Elizabeth's, Moore said. He went to Elizabeth's trailer, got clothes, and went back through the same yard and went back to his trailer, and that is all I heard. The night she was taken in for questioning, or the night she got arrested, the night something went down. I didn't catch all the details. Rich then took more to redirect the questioning. The Wednesday that you saw Tabby and Elizabeth, was that also the day you had the soccer match in Sheridan? He asked. Yep, Moore said. How do you know they were on the same day you went to West Miller Trucking and B&R Schroeder and the soccer game in Sheridan? Because I looked the soccer game up. I know for a fact in the schedule to make sure I was not crazy. And Wednesday was the day I saw her because it wasn't a half day. It wasn't May Day. It was some kind of special day at school. They had these religious people come in at school since Brent Geiser died and Tabitha died. And they had these people there for people to talk to. That is how I remember it was Wednesday. Saturday was my birthday, October 5th. So when they found her body, I was like at my car with flowers on my car, and it was my birthday. And I looked up, and all I see is helicopters and realize, oh my gosh, that is how I can remember all that. It's because it was before my 18th birthday. Let me ask you this. You said something that confused me a little bit just because I'm easily confused. You said that you know all of these things happened on the same day because of these people speaking at the school, and you mentioned because of Tabitha's death, Wednesday, October 2nd. Nobody knew what had happened to her at that point in time. You also mentioned the Geyser boy, I think. Yeah, he wouldn't have passed away till Monday. I think maybe that would have been the next Wednesday. It would have been a week after that. Something went on at school that day. Wednesday, October 2nd, Rich said. Moore seemed to begin to get flustered. This has been almost a year ago, she said. Yeah, it would have been Wednesday, the Sheridan soccer game, because we three of us senior girls did not have to go to school that day. We did not have to go to school at the end of the day. We were sitting at the auditorium stage or something went on at school that day, a convo or something. In those days, seniors who had passed the ISTEP test didn't have to come to school until later in the day because in the mornings, the graduation qualify exam was being administered to sophomores as well as juniors and seniors who hadn't yet passed. The tests were typically administered in early October, so it is plausible that the reason Moore and the other senior soccer players weren't required to be at school that day was due to them having already passed the ISTEP. A convocation? Rich asked. Something had to have been going on. Something of some kind, Moore said. When you went out to B&R Schroeder and West Miller Trucking around noon, you said around 11:45, you by yourself? Yeah, and Megan Anderson saw her too, with Elizabeth Balser, almost at the same corner, because she was selling ads for the newspaper. Because she was the other person Frelly pulled in, because she said she saw her with Elizabeth Balser too. Okay, now Frelly in his report said that you told him that you saw Tabby with Elizabeth on Thursday, October 3rd. Would that be incorrect? That's what Frawley's paper said? That it was Thursday? Moore asked Rich. I believe that there is a supplemental report or police report, I think, he said. Rich replied. He came into school on Thursday, Moore said. Okay, Rich said. Moore continued, so it couldn't say Thursday, because he came into the school on Thursday and asked Megan and I about it, because it was the day before, because she was just missing at that time, and he came back to the school. See, I get confused because I was questioned twice about the parking lot deal and about Adam Johnson and I. We were in the parking lot in his Explorer, supposedly arguing in the parking lot at 12. I was like, okay, he would be at work, and I would have been either at school or selling ads. And I forget. You told us who the lady was that said she saw us in the parking lot in a dark colored vehicle and thought it was us. And that is the second time that Farley pulled me into the school. And I don't know exactly what the dates are. Mom's got them written down. So you say that you know for a fact that the Sheridan soccer game is the same day that you saw Tabitha and Elizabeth together. Yeah. Alden picked back up with further questions. And you're saying it's the day after you saw Elizabeth and Tabi that you talked to Frowley, he asked. I'm pretty sure it was within that week, Moore said. It was the same week because it was in school. Was it after the body was found and you were questioned by Frowley? See, I don't know, because I was questioned twice. And I don't know if it was after the body was found, because I think she was just a missing person, because the body was found on a Saturday. So I don't know, she admitted. I got pulled in 2 times. I couldn't, so you don't know exactly. Exact? No, I'm not going to try to be exact. So whatever Frawley's report says is what you think happened. Yeah, I don't know. It has almost been a year. Sorry. Okay, now, so you say Megan Henderson. Anderson. Anderson, Alden corrected himself. There were several Megan Andersons in Tipton. She's the one that's in my class, Moore said. Is Adam Johnson your boyfriend? Yeah. Okay, and how long have you been dating Adam? We're going on almost 2 years. Okay, now does Adam use drugs? Not anymore. Okay, excuse me, did he use drugs during the 2 years that you were dating? Uh huh. Well, you mentioned you didn't hang out with those kind of people. I just didn't, and he doesn't either. He just made money off of them. Pardon me? Alden seemed taken aback. He just made money off of them, Moore repeated. He doesn't hang out with them, Adam. So you mean like selling drugs? Yeah, like he never hung out with them. I mean, that is the lower spectrum. But like I was telling Jay, you knew he was selling drugs? I didn't at the time. When did you find out? November. I was kind of speculating why he had to meet certain people at certain times, certain places, why I couldn't go, just little things. I wanted to be like naive, like I didn't want to be with that. I couldn't take that home to my mom and dad. Then eventually, I made him see he could be a person without that, and he could make money, a decent living without that. And I left him, and I said I wasn't going to deal with that. And a week and a half later, about almost 2 weeks, he came back and he was done. And Gary Stout asked him on the lie detector test if he used cocaine or sold it. And the lie detector test was 6 months after the murder, and he passed it. So he did not use drugs, nor sold drugs since. So that was a reassurance for me, and I needed that. But you still continued to date him after November when you knew he was selling drugs. Is that true? Yep. Yeah. Okay, that's all, Alden concluded. Rich then followed up. Again, Mr. Alden said that whatever Tony Frawley's report said would be accurate. Is that true? And I think that he was alluding to the day that he talked to you. Again, you saw Elizabeth Balser and Tabitha Raines on October 2nd, the same day of your varsity soccer game. Is that correct? I don't, I can't say for sure and lie under oath. It has been almost a year ago. To the best of your recollection, is that correct? Yes. Okay. Robert, do you have anything else? Rich asked. So you think that the information you gave him would be more accurate than the information you gave us today? Alden asked more. Yeah, if he has a record of the days he went to school, she replied, that doesn't mean I couldn't have been the day before. If he has a record saying I talked to Cammy on this day, that doesn't mean it happened. So basically, you don't know as of today the day that you saw them for sure. If I had my high school organizer, I could tell you for sure. If you want me to go home and get that and plan a later date, I can tell you a lot more. Rich asked, could you get that for us? I could, Moore said. Alden then asked, were you keeping like a diary? I saw Tabitha and Elizabeth today. Is that what this book says? No, it just says when the soccer game was, the date I talked to Frawley, not necessarily a diary. The places I went for ads, I would have wrote those down. If that diary or organizer shows the days that you went to Westmiller trucking or B&R Schroeder, did you go to those places on the same day? Rich asked. I didn't, Moore said. Is that the same day you saw them? Rich asked. Yeah, Moore said. If I can find it, I'll bring it in and even let you see it. It's just the Tipton High School organizer. I wrote everything down in it, especially my 18th birthday was a big day for me. So the weeks before that and the weeks after that, I wrote everything down. Okay, why don't you find that and share that with us? The Tipton County Prosecutor's Office did not cooperate for this story, so there was no known way to independently verify if the organizer ever surfaced or if Alden or Rich were able to see it. What's particularly interesting about Moore's claim that she saw Tabi and Balsa riding in the car together in the middle of town near the lunch hour on October 2nd is that according to Michael Raines, Tabi was at home with Drake just roughly an hour later on the same day when he arrived home from work. Soon thereafter, Michael took Tabi to her GED class over near the old Lincoln Elementary School on Ash Street near the intersection of State Road 19 and 28. Adam Johnson and the authorities entered into an agreement before the trial that in exchange for being available to testify in the trial regarding his dealings and knowledge of the situation regarding Kyle Neff, Johnson would not have any charges raised against him for dealing drugs. That is the end of chapter 6. I'll be recording chapter 7 here shortly and try to get that out within the next day or two. Thank you for listening. And if you have any comments, suggestions, any information at all, please put it in the video, underneath the video in the comments, and or email me at beyondtheevidence1@gmail.com. Thanks and have a great day.